other than having to talk to someone who doesn't seem to understand what you're saying. Consequently, the words coming out a little stranger than you meant them.
Rock and roll fans love the story of Jim Morrison and Janis Joplin dying at 27. Two wild spirits who burned out too young. Except that's not the real story. In 1968, Janis smashed a Southern Comfort bottle over Jim's head at a party. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't crazy. She was defending herself. For years, music companies told us Jim Morrison was a poet who wore leather, a rebel who broke all the rules. But in 2020, these stories gained new attention. John Densmore's decades-old accounts of Jim threatening women were finally being heard. Other musicians started discussing his aggressive behaviour toward female fans. The Doors' own crew members had known. Record executives had known. Everyone had known. And for too long, everyone had stayed silent. Janis knew too. That's why she hated him. While Jim got protected and promoted, Janis got called ugly. She was told to lose weight. She was blamed when men grabbed her. The same executives who covered for Jim told Janis she drank too much, made her feel grateful for any success. The bottle incident wasn't random violence. It was the night Janis Joplin said enough. One woman with a whiskey bottle against an entire industry that protected predators. This is what really happened when rock's biggest female star fought back, and why they made sure you never heard about it until now. The Texas outcast who became rock royalty. Port Arthur, Texas, 1943. A place where fitting in meant everything. This was Janis Joplin's world, one that never understood her. While other girls focused on perfecting their smiles, Janis gravitated toward Bessie Smith and Lyd Belly. Their music echoed the pain she already knew too well. High school became a daily battlefield for Janis. Her classmates mercilessly targeted her clothes, her weight, and her acne. Even worse, her vocal support for racial integration in the segregated South made her not just unpopular, it made her dangerous. Later at the University of Texas, a fraternity publicly humiliated her by voting her ugliest man on campus. This cruel joke cut deep into her spirit. Yet these boys weren't destroying Janis. They were actually creating her. Every rejection became power she would later channel. When she found San Francisco's counterculture scene, Janis didn't simply perform, she exploded on stage. Audiences witnessed a woman who boldly refused to be pretty or polite. Her voice wasn't technically perfect. Instead, it was raw and authentic. Each crack in her vocals told the story of her broken heart. Remarkably, everything that made her an outcast in Texas now made her royalty elsewhere. Despite the worship from her growing fan base, that wounded Texas girl remained inside her. The same pain that electrified her performances made her private moments unbearable. This inner turmoil fueled a dangerous pattern of self-medication as her fame continued to grow. Southern Comfort and Shattered Boundaries. Southern Comfort wasn't just Janis Joplin's drink, it was her armour. The amber liquor became as iconic as her feather boas. Fans watched in fascination as Joplin took swigs between verses. What most people didn't know was that Southern Comfort executives saw a marketing goldmine. Their sales soared alongside Janis's fame. Yet they never paid her a single cent for the promotion. Eventually, they sent her a peace offering, an expensive lynx fur coat. The bitter irony was clear. Janis had to become famous enough to be exploited before receiving anything at all. In her private life, that bottle had a darker use. Her friends saw her drinking change. It went from something she did for fun to something she had to have. The same woman who made crowds so excited used the drink to hide her sad feelings. She used it to forget times she felt pushed away. "I don't sing rock and roll to make myself feel better," she once confided. "I do it to make everyone else feel worse." The Southern Comfort? That was pure self-medication. The bottle became her boundary marker. It signaled that she controlled her space. When fans got aggressive or critics attacked, she'd take a defiant swig. That gesture said clearly, "This is mine." Jim Morrison learned this lesson the hard way. Her comfort became a weapon against rock's most notorious predator. The bottle that soothed countless lonely nights shattered against the Lizard King's skull. He had thought his status meant taking whatever he wanted, but Morrison's disturbing behaviour wasn't isolated. A pattern was emerging. Several women in the music scene had already experienced it firsthand, with devastating consequences. The disturbing dark side of the Lizard King. Jim Morrison wasn't just a poet and sex symbol. His image of leather pants and a mysterious style hid something very upsetting. The 2025 docuseries, Before the End, finally exposed the Lizard King's darkest behaviours. Testimonies from witnesses showed a pattern of behaviour that was kept secret for many, many years. Former girlfriend Judy Huddleston shared how Morrison's charm could instantly turn into violent rage. During one disturbing incident, he became violent despite her clear boundaries. His eyes turned black with fury as he attacked. Their relationship spanned 4 years, beginning backstage at a concert. Over time, it devolved into emotional manipulation and psychological damage. Huddleston detailed these traumatic experiences in her memoir, Love Him Madly. This wasn't isolated behaviour. At the Whiskey A Go Go, Morrison slapped Pamela DeBars without any provocation. Doors drummer John Densmore even witnessed Morrison holding a threatening a woman. The music industry often romanticised these actions as artistic temperament. In reality, they formed a disturbing pattern of control and violence. Morrison left a trail of traumatised women who stayed silent. The industry protected him while enabling his escalating behaviour. This new context completely reframes the infamous Janis Joplin confrontation. When she smashed that Southern Comfort bottle over his head, she wasn't being temperamental. She was setting a necessary boundary against a known aggressor. Perhaps most disturbing was Morrison's posthumous glorification. He became celebrated as a poetic martyr, while Janis became a cautionary tale. This glaring double standard only fueled Janis's deep contempt for the man the world called the Lizard King. Hidden Hills, the night that changed everything. Paul Rothchild's attempt to unite rock royalty backfired spectacularly. His 1968 Hidden Hills party ignited a violent confrontation that would forever divide two legends. Janis arrived surprisingly sober. She commanded attention in her bohemian feathers and bangles. Morrison showed up an hour later, wearing his signature leather and a partially unbuttoned shirt. It was electric when they first locked eyes, one witness recalled, like two wild animals sizing each other up. Their early conversation flowed naturally. They discussed blues, poetry and fame. But as the night progressed, Morrison began drinking heavily. His charming persona quickly vanished. Jim could turn on a dime, Ray Manzarek later explained. 1 minute he'd be reciting Rimbaud. The next he'd become a primal creature seeking chaos. His advances toward Janis grew increasingly aggressive. He touched her without permission and stood too close. You could see her trying to maintain her cool, remembered Judy Collins, but there was a storm brewing behind her eyes. By midnight, Morrison had cornered her with crude propositions. Janis finally announced her departure. As she climbed into her band's station wagon, Morrison staggered after her. He violently yanked her hair. Without hesitation, Janis swung her Southern Comfort bottle at his head. It shattered against his temple. He was left bloody on the driveway as she ordered her driver, "Get us the hell out of here." Most disturbing was Morrison's behaviour the next day. He showed up bandaged, yet acted as if nothing had happened. When asked about the incident, he simply smiled. "That Joplin chick is something else. Get me her number, would you?" For Janis, this wasn't just an ugly incident. It confirmed everything she suspected about rock's golden boy. Her hatred would only deepen when she found out she wasn't his only victim. Why Janis's hatred was so deep. The bottle that crashed against Jim Morrison's skull wasn't just about one unwanted advance. It was Janis smashing back at everything he represented. Both were counterculture icons, but society's double standards were glaring. Morrison's drunken performances earned him labels like poetic shaman and dark prince. His chaos was considered genius, yet Janis's similar behaviour. She was labelled troubled, messy, and out of control. One reviewer even called her a desperate wailing banshee who needs to be tamed. Janis once confided to a friend, "They want me wild on stage, but a lady everywhere else. Jim can piss on a desk at his record label and get applause." The rules were different for male and female rock stars. Men were celebrated for their excesses. Women faced impossible standards. Morrison could show up intoxicated and receive praise for his authentic intensity. When Janis did the same thing, producers threatened to cancel her contracts. What truly infuriated her was how the industry protected men like Morrison. After the bottle incident, executives actually suggested Janis apologise to Jim. No one questioned his aggressive, hair-grabbing behaviour. "It's like they expect me to be grateful he noticed me," she told bandmate Sam Andrew. "Like I should feel honoured the great Jim Morrison tried to drag me by my hair." Morrison became everything she fought against, the entitled male, facing no consequences while she fought twice as hard for half the respect. Her roadie John Cook later revealed that Janis kept a music men to avoid list. Morrison topped it, underlined 3 times with the warning, "Never again." What intensified her hatred was seeing herself in Jim. The loneliness, the substance abuse, the need for validation. But while Morrison got endless chances, Janis knew she was just one mistake away from dismissal. And that realization burned hotter than any Southern comfort ever could. Heartbreak and lost loves. Janis Joplin seemed tough on the outside, but she was really just a woman looking for love. Her romantic life matched her ballads, intense and devastating. Her discovered diaries revealed raw insecurities. "Why don't they want to stay? What's wrong with me?" she wrote. Her 1968 encounter with Leonard Cohen at Chelsea Hotel became his song Chelsea Hotel No. 2. Cohen later admitted the truth. "I wrote about it as if it were nothing, but to her, I think it mattered." The irony was painful. Janis had actually been looking for Chris Christopherson that night, a perfect metaphor for her troubled love life. Months before her death, Janis got engaged to Seth Morgan. Friends noticed a new lightness in her spirit during this time. What many fans don't know is that Janis's most passionate relationship was with a woman. Her affair with Peggy Caserta offered rare tenderness in her life. Yet even this connection couldn't survive the pressures of fame. A cruel irony defined her existence. Millions adored Janis the performer, while few truly loved Janis the woman. Songs like Piece of My Heart weren't mere performances. They were honest confessions from someone intimately familiar with rejection. This pattern of heartbreak explained her strong boundaries with men like Morrison. She had been used too often by those claiming to worship her talent while ignoring her humanity. This gave her a sixth sense for men who viewed her as just another conquest. Perhaps most heartbreaking was her sister Laura's revelation. Just weeks before her death, Janis wrote home saying, "I think I might actually be happy now. Isn't that something?" These words haunted her family afterward. They showed how close she came to finally finding love. Janis did find moments of genuine connection throughout her life. Yet the true tragedy was that her deepest love affair, with substances that numbed her pain, would ultimately prove most destructive of all. The tragic end at 27. The final months of Janis's life seemed like a turning point. She was clean, focused, and creating her masterpiece album. Yet beneath the surface, darker currents pulled her back toward destruction. In 1970, Janis achieved periods of sobriety. Friends noticed a new clarity in her eyes. She was recording Pearl with her full-tilt boogie band. They provided the professional backing she truly deserved. Me and Bobby McGee showed a softer, more emotional side to the powerful blues singer. But her demons wouldn't stay quiet. The gap between public adoration and private emptiness grew increasingly unbearable. On October 4th, 1970, Janis missed her recording session. This happened just 16 days after Hendrix's death. Her road manager made the devastating discovery Janis was dead. The cause was an accidental heroin overdose. What makes this even more shocking? Janis had been clean for weeks. She unknowingly received substances of unexpected potency, which had tragic consequences. With her recently lowered tolerance, she unknowingly took a lethal dose. Investigators found heartbreaking evidence of her future plans. There were gifts, concert tickets, and detailed recording notes. This wasn't someone planning to die. This was someone with dreams still waiting to be realized. Her death inducted her into the 27 Club, a group of extraordinary talents extinguished at that haunting age. Hendrix, Morrison, Cobain, and Winehouse all shared this fate. It's the age when youthful resilience begins to fade. The cruelest twist came after her death. Pearl was released posthumously in 1971 as her definitive work. Her final recording, Mercedes-Benz, became an unintentional farewell. Following her wishes, Janis's ashes were scattered over the Pacific Ocean. While Morrison joined the 27 Club just months later, their legacies took different paths. Jim's death only mythologized his mystique, but Janis's revealed the vulnerability behind her fierce exterior. She was a trail-blazing voice, silenced just as she found her truest expression. What Janis's bottle really shattered? Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison's clash wasn't just rock drama. It exposed harsh truths about gender and power in music. History often romanticized their confrontation as mere drunken antics. But Janis smashing that bottle over Morrison's head meant something more. It represented a woman drawing a clear line in an industry that rarely protected women. Morrison became the celebrated Lizard King. His excesses only enhanced his mystique. Meanwhile, Janis faced harsh criticism for the same behaviours. People labelled her emotional rawness as weakness. They called his emotional displays genius. This double standard wasn't subtle, it was deafening. This feud matters today because it forces us to reconsider these icons. Morrison's behaviour wasn't artistic temperament. It was the entitled aggression later exposed by the Me Too movement. And Janis? She wasn't being hysterical. She was simply saying no in the clearest way possible. Tragically, both died at age 27. Their legacies remain frozen in time, unable to change with our understanding. People still listen to their songs many years later. Yet, so do uncomfortable truths about their unequal treatment. Janis's bottle-smashing moment stood for something powerful. It represented every dismissal she faced, every double standard she encountered, every boundary crossed against her will. In that explosive act, she spoke for countless women who couldn't fight back against the Jim Morrisons of their world.